Hello, I'm Amy Wood, and today I'm reviewing Simple Analytics with Preview. Simple Analytics is a privacy-first alternative to Google Analytics. It's designed to show website traffic without cookies, personal data, or any visitor tracking. The platform focuses on giving teams a clearer view of their traffic while keeping analytics simple and privacy-friendly. In this review, I'll test its responsive design, performance, accessibility, themes, and overall user experience. Let's begin with the desktop experience. I'll compare the landing page across several screen sizes to see how well the layout adapts, whether the content stays readable, and if any elements become clipped, stretched, or awkwardly positioned. Starting with the 2025 Lenovo ThinkPad view, the landing page looks polished and well organized. The sections follow a clear visual order, the spacing feels balanced, and I don't notice any obvious alignment or responsiveness problems at this size. As I move through the full homepage, the design stays consistent. Headings, illustrations, buttons, and supporting text all fit naturally within the page. Overall, this desktop presentation feels clean, deliberate, and easy to follow. Now let's switch to a wider desktop viewport. The page still looks good, and most sections scale without introducing major issues. The overall structure remains stable, and the content continues to feel readable and professionally presented. On the Dell Ultra Sharp view, though, I notice a small issue around the data gap diagram. Part of the illustration appears constrained or cut off. Giving this section a wider container could help the full graphic make better use of the available screen space. I also notice a large amount of unused space on both sides of the page at very wide resolutions. A slightly wider maximum content width or more responsive spacing could make the design feel better balanced on large desktop monitors. Next, let's look at desktop performance. The time to first byte is strong, which suggests the initial server response is arriving quickly. The DOM content loaded result also looks healthy, so the basic page structure becomes available without a major delay. First contentful paint appears good as well, meaning visitors start seeing useful content quickly. JavaScript execution is generally reasonable, although a few results are slower than the strongest runs and may be worth investigating. The largest contentful paint result is more inconsistent. The animated data gap diagram in the hero area may be contributing to that variation because the visible content changes while the page is loading and could delay the final largest element. The load event looks acceptable, but the overall page load time needs more attention. The medium result is slower than expected, and a few individual desktop runs perform noticeably worse, suggesting the experience may vary between devices or test conditions. One possible improvement would be to simplify the initial animation or load a static version of the data gap diagram first. The interactive version could start after the important above-the-fold content has rendered, reducing its effect on perceived loading speed. Now let's move to the mobile layouts. Starting with the iPhone 15, the page adapts well. The navigation, typography, content blocks, and data gap illustration all fit comfortably within the narrower viewport, with no major horizontal overflow. The animated diagram is still active on mobile. It works, but the movement may not add enough value on a smaller screen to justify the extra visual activity and potential performance cost. A lighter or static mobile version could feel more focused. On the iPhone 11 Pro, I noticed that the row of customer or partner logos wraps into 3 lines. This isn't a serious problem, but it creates a taller and slightly less balanced section than the 2-row arrangement you see on some larger phones. Adjusting the logo size, spacing, or number of items shown per row could make that section more consistent across small mobile widths. Beyond that, the remaining content continues to stack correctly, and I don't see any major layout failures. Overall, the mobile design is strong. The visual hierarchy remains clear. The page is easy to scroll, and the important calls to action stay visible. It feels like a genuine mobile layout rather than a desktop page simply compressed into a smaller space. The time to first byte is good, and the content loading results are also strong. First contentful paint is quick, so visitors should see the first meaningful parts of the page without waiting for a long blank screen. JavaScript execution time is also good across the mobile tests. The load event performs well, while total page load time could still be improved slightly. Even so, the overall mobile performance is more consistent than some of the desktop results. I also checked for obvious console errors, failed network requests, and broken page resources. I didn't find any major failures during this review, and the website continued to operate normally across the tested mobile devices. Next, I'm reviewing the keyboard accessibility order. On desktop, pressing the Tab key moves the focus through interactive elements like links and buttons, allowing someone to navigate the page without relying on a mouse. The general focus movement works, but the main navigation could be improved. The keyboard order appears to skip the product and why simple analytics items, jumping directly to later links such as solutions, pricing, or documentation. Those menu items may be implemented as non-link controls or may require a different interaction, but the behavior isn't immediately clear to a keyboard user. Every meaningful navigation option should be reachable and understandable through the keyboard. On mobile, the focus order initially appears limited to the first available control. After continuing through the test, the navigation starts moving more normally. Still, the mobile menu should be checked carefully to confirm that every item is consistently reachable. A visible focus indicator is also important. Keyboard users should always be able to see exactly which link, button, or menu item is active. Improving the skipped navigation items would make an otherwise solid accessibility experience more complete. Now let's compare light mode and dark mode. The light version uses the warm beige background associated with the Simple Analytics visual identity, while the dark version shifts the page into a deeper, higher contrast presentation. Both themes preserve the design well. Text remains readable, illustrations still feel integrated with the page, and the accent colors continue to stand out. I don't notice any major contrast, consistency, or component styling problems between the two modes. Next is the shrinking mutation test. This gradually reduces and expands the available viewport so we can observe how the layout responds between fixed device sizes rather than testing only a few standard resolutions. During this test, the sections reflow smoothly. Content moves from wider arrangements into narrower stacked layouts without obvious overlap, sudden horizontal scrolling, or broken positioning. The page handles the transition between sizes very well. The test reduces the viewport to around 20% of the original Lenovo ThinkPad size, which is based on a 1280 by 800 viewport. Even through this extreme transition, the responsive behavior remains stable and predictable. Finally, let's look at the overall design from an AI-generated or template-like perspective. The landing page doesn't immediately feel generic or automatically assembled. It has a clear visual identity and a focused story around privacy-first analytics. The data gap explanation is especially effective because it turns the product's main argument into a visual comparison. The headings are direct, the supporting text is easy to scan, and the calls to action are placed where users would naturally expect them. Some parts could still be refined. The primary action buttons could be differentiated more strongly in a few sections, and the animated hero diagram could be optimized for performance. However, these are improvements rather than fundamental design problems. Overall, Simple Analytics presents a strong landing page. Its responsive layouts are reliable, its mobile experience is polished, its light and dark themes are consistent, and the product message is communicated clearly without overwhelming the visitor. The main opportunities are to improve the very wide desktop layout, prevent the data gap illustration from appearing constrained, reduce inconsistent desktop loading times, and make every navigation item reliably accessible by keyboard. That concludes my review of Simple Analytics. The website combines a distinctive privacy-focused message with a clean and flexible design. Thank you for watching, and this review is created with Preview.